Hello, I'm Brent Farris from the Bitterman Studios, and I'm here to teach you some C++ game programming. Chances are that you already know about programming when you found this. If you do not, I highly suggest that you go over to YouTube, if you're not already here, and type in C++, the new boss done. So this guy makes a lot of programming intro tutorials on how to get started learning how to program. So if you go to Bucky's programming and just go through his C++ stuff, learn about variables and object-oriented programming and the strings and outputs and all that stuff, files and whatever, then you can come back and start learning how to make your C++ directional towards games. So in this one, I'm going to go over just some simple gameplay inside of a console window because basically all we're doing whenever we program is basically what the console does. We're writing a bunch of stuff in the background and all the pretty pictures and stuff move in the foreground. We'll get into pictures and making actual games and sprites later, but right now we're just going to start off on a console thing. So I have my Visual Studio open here. You can open up code blocks or whatever you're comfortable with. I would suggest Visual Studio just because it's pretty awesome. So let's begin by doing our include. I will include our IO stream. We'll include string, the string class, and we will include, sorry, not include, we will be using a namespace std. Int main, we'll just make it void because we're not going to be passing any arguments from the command line into our program. And there we go. We're ready. We're set up and we're ready to start doing some game logic. So let's make a pretty simple game to start off with to start understanding how to make games. And one thing that we want in our game are players. We want characters. We want other people virtually in our game. They don't have to be actual people on the other end of, the computer, but just virtual people, fake people, if you will, in our game. So now that we have this set up, let's return 0 at the end there. Let's create a class. So inside of our header files, right-click, add new item, go down to header, so .h, and we'll call it character.h. So now we have our character file, and let's make our define statement. So if ndef, if not defined is what that means. Character underscore h. Then we want to define character underscore h and end if. So we end our if there. Now to prevent circular dependencies, which means if I include a file here and that file includes me, then we want to prevent that because there will be an infinite include of dependencies and you'll get errors and link problems and all that. So to prevent that, we'll do start pragma once, and that will prevent our circular dependencies right there. Right after that, we can start doing our include statements. So we'll do an include IO stream, include string, and we will start with our class definition. So class, character, and terminate that. So we're going to need our set of public variables. So let's write our public there. And let's begin with our constructor and our destructor. Oops. Character. So now that we have our constructor and destructor, let's think of a few things we want. Let's say that we're making a game, an adventure game that you fight things. That's a common theme, right? So the one thing that you will need is health. So let's make a private variable. I'm going to make it private because we don't want other code accessing this particular health unless they do it through function calls. So we want to say his, let's say int health, like that. That's good. We'll make it an integer. It couldn't be a float, but integers are easier to grasp in this case. Let's make a couple functions. Let's make a function for getting his health. So int get health. And let's make an int damage, and we'll pass in an int amount. So the amount of damage that we're going to be dealing to this character, and let's also make that void. We don't need to return anything after we damage him, unless you want to return the health after you damage, so that you can check if he's hurt or dead or anything. But that's pretty much all that we're going to need at the moment. So this is going to be a base class for characters. So let's create another class. Well, let's keep it to the basic idea behind the character, and then we'll create the other classes in other videos. So to reflect, we have made sure that we've defined the character.h. We make sure that there's no circular dependencies, and we include our IOStream and our strings classes. Let's also add a string name. Characters have names, and let's be able to get that name. String get name will return the character's name. I am not using my namespace std here, so that's why that was underlined problem. And let's Control-Shift-B, make sure we have no errors. We succeeded. So yes, we have created our character. He has health, a name, a constructor, destructor. We have a get health, we have a damage, and we have a get name for this base class. So in the next video, we're going to go over setting up these functions and everything. So until then.